Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 2 in a series between Bratok and Roxas's LZ here on Daybreak. Bratok spawning as the red Terran player on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, LZ spawning as the blue Zerg on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Game 1 going in favor of LZ after Bratok perhaps did a build order loss and unit composition loss, not really scouting out LZ, building a whole bunch of marauders when there were no roaches to take down. So far, LZ has been playing a very solid game from what I've seen. He's built the proper counter units, and I like how he's utilizing Zerg where he's able to transition from one counter unit to another very seamlessly and catching Bratok off guard. Now we'll see if Bratok will be opening up with a 1 Rax expand, or perhaps he may change things up a little bit and try to go for an earlier gas 4 reactor Hellions. LZ in game 1 did go for a hatchery first, meanwhile Bratok did go for that 1 Rax expand, which normally leads to a very long economic game. LZ did establish up his third base, but never really got it up and running and used it more as a macro hatch, but I still like the idea of that third base just so that it put pressure on Bratok to attack. Now Bratok, so far it looks like he's going to be going for a fast command center 15 or 16 variety, and that will give him about equal footing in terms of the economy. We can see that LZ now patrolling back here. In comes a hatchery at 14. Meanwhile, it looks like Bratok will be going for a 14 command center as well. Now, one of the benefits of Zerg, as I have mentioned in the past, is the fact that they're able to train up 2 drones at a time early in the game. One of the reasons why Zerg players are able to delay their drones is that they have that additional resource where even though they're not training a drone constantly, they can save up to 2 or 3 larvae and then build the hatchery, save up the larvae, and then catch up in terms of drones, as we are seeing a bit of an economic advantage by LZ sitting at 17. Meanwhile, Bratok is sitting at 16. SCV still working off over here at the 3 o'clock position. Drone about to be completed here as we are finally seeing a tech building. A refinery is already down and a barracks will be completed. It will be a little bit of time before there is 100 gas, about another 50 seconds or so, for a factory to be placed down, and in that time we'll see whether or not Bratok just constantly trains up Marines or adds on a reactor for those reactor Hellions. LZ is still sitting on no gas at this stage in the game as the hatchery has been completed and now going into double queen play. Now, double queen play, most likely going to be a total of 4 queens in just a moment, as queens are so effective at both increasing your production while acting as very strong base defense, shutting down or at least minimizing the damage that Banshees and Hellions can do early on. SCV already down to 5 hit points. It looks like it will get taken down. No way for it to regenerate any hit points or shields, unlike Zerg or Protoss, as there you go. SCV does finally get taken down there. We are adding in that reactor. We are going into a factory, and LZ still with a very large supply lead, sitting at 35 compared to 24, and we are going into a 4 queen play. Now, Daybreak is a little bit more of a tricky situation for Zerg, as the Zerg player does want to establish this up as their third base. This base, however, is rather far away and is very prone to Hellion harassment. I wouldn't be surprised if LZ just builds this hatchery here and doesn't really utilize it very much, doesn't transfer any drones until he actually feels comfortable, especially with so many Hellions coming out. We are seeing Bratok now thinking very long term by establishing up this third command center. Most likely will be upgraded to an orbital command in order to call down more mules as well, and that will give him a little bit more of an equal footing in terms of the overall economic race. 10 drones now being trained at a time by LZ, as we are seeing creep tumors now being laid down, and the creep spread should look very strong coming in from LZ in just a moment. Hellions now looking to do a bit of a move around, and it looks like one last Zergling will get taken down once more. Bratok is supply blocked though at 46 over 46, only able to train up one SCV at a time, as he now should be upgrading to an orbital command, getting some additional barracks, and now thinking what the long-term strategy is. LZ, is he going to spot the orbital command upgrading? He does, and this is a huge benefit here, as the Marines looking to take down a free Overlord, but the scouting has already been done. Hellions now scouted this out over here. You can see a cancellation on the Creep Tumor, another cancellation there. Beautiful map awareness, buying time for the Creep Tumor to come up, and then cancelling it at the last moment, so that the Creep Tumor can once again spread out again. Looks like the hatchery is still going to get roasted and toasted. Takes about 7 damage, I believe, 7 damage per attack with that base 1 armor. But that is still going to be enough to have it taken down, even by the slow attack rate of these Hellions, unless the Queens do come over and try to push those Hellions back. Alright, one Queen a little bit gung-ho moving forward, and now trying to back off. It looks as though we are going into Zerglings. We can see the tech to tier 2 already underway. Baneling's Nest now already coming in as well. And we should be getting that movement speed on those Banelings. Meanwhile, Bratok now building a whole bunch of supply depots on the front door to make sure units are not simply able to run by. Bratok wants to control this map and control the tempo of the game. But so far, LZ, by establishing up this third hatchery, he is utilizing it as a macro hatch, as I mentioned earlier, without committing any drones here, because he knows that this one particular hatchery is very much exposed. LZ is not going to transition any drones until he feels absolutely comfortable, and even so, he's going to do it relatively slowly, as we are seeing only 5 or 7 drones now being transferred over. Alright, Bratok doing a great job keeping up and keeping even in the overall supply race. Now sitting at 88 over 105, and we are seeing a tech into a starport. Starport already has the reactor. We can see that combat shield now being added, as Bratok being very careful to get more Marines. This time around though, I don't know if that's going to work, as we may see LZ supplement this Zergling and Baneling army, yes, with infestors. Pathogen glands now already being researched, and that's what shuts down mass Marines, infestors, fungal growth, and banelings. A very deadly combination, especially if you're able to chain 2 fungal growths together. Level 1 weapons and armor upgrades about to be completed by both armies, as we are now also going into hive tech. I am curious to know what Bratok will be utilizing with that hive tech. Zergling still dancing around here, and so far Bratok is exposing himself a little bit more. There is one medevac in the air, but the unit compositions, let's take a look at the overall army size. Even though Terran does have a larger mineral army size, LZ with the larger gas army, infestors should be able to handle this, especially with Queens able to start transfusing. Alright, this looks like it could be bad. Here comes a couple of attacks. The Queen taking a lot of damage. The Queen needs to get transfused here. Is it going to get transfused? No, it is not. Are we going to see a fungal growth? There's some beautiful fungal growth, as now that is going to be some bad days there. Infestors are popping, but some damage was dealt, as Bratok now sitting at 124 compared to LZ's 108, and this is not looking good for LZ. It looks like Bratok did find a very good timing here, and now we could see some starbursts onto some of those drones. Yes, and some drones are getting taken down. Infested Terrans now being added. 8 workers so far killed, as it looks as though the Marines will finish off this hatchery here, but a new hatchery is already being established at the top left-hand side of the map. Broodlings now making their way out, trying to do a little bit of chasing. It looks like one Marine, nope, not even going to get taken down there at all, as Bratok, perhaps with his spider sense, knowing that LZ did have this expansion over here on the top left, and it looks like it will be 3 bases to 2 in favor of Bratok. Zerglings now cleaning up some of these Marines here. Infestors still do not have enough energy, as the medevac able to lift up all the units, and where are they going to be going next? LZ with a very well-placed Overlord will scout this out here, and we'll see what will be happening as those Marines will be dropped off. The Marine and the Hellions will be dropped off here in just a second. Alright, this does not look good. One Marine dropping into a sea of Zerglings. Are we going to see some infested Terrans? Nope. The medevac just going to sit there and then try and run away. LZ sitting at 114, Bratok sitting at 145 supply. Army compositions definitely in favor of Bratok now. Economy in favor of Bratok as well. So this is looking very, very good for Bratok. But LZ does have this third base over here on the top left and reestablishing up a new fourth base in what was the third base location. At this stage, yes, we are going to see Bratok move out and establish this forward ground expansion with a rich Vespene Geyser and 6 mineral patches, as Terran players generally like to expand in the direction of their opponent. It's that slow base crawl that is ever so effective. Now, there are siege tanks down here, making it very difficult for those Zerglings to perhaps even try and run by. And the slow push coming in from Bratok, as he is now going into 3-3 upgrades on his Marines, looks to finish the job. That was started, what, moments ago. A 35 supply difference between these two armies. Queen now looking to run away. Are we going to perhaps see some very good baneling hits? No. Drones now just absolutely getting destroyed. There's a fungal growth. And are we perhaps going to see more fungal growths as the Zerglings are going to perhaps try and surround here? This is a good flank. And are the Marines? No, the Marines are not by those siege tanks, so the siege tanks are all going to fall. LZ does lose a lot, as there is now about a 60 supply discrepancy here. All right, chain fungal growth, infested Terrans. This could be huge. It looks like some of the medevacs will be able to get away. Nope. It looks like another one will get taken down. And now here is another one as well. Some infested Terrans now trying to make their way over. Are they going to go after the medevac? Is it going to shoot it down in time? Unable to shoot them down. The infested Terrans needed to be launched a little bit in front of those medevacs, as two very low hit point medevacs go home and say, hey, I had a whole bunch of Marines with me, but yeah, I don't know what happened to them. LZ now on the move. He is still down by about 50 supply, as Bratok is looking to deal a lot more damage. 3 siege tanks now in a forward position once more, with a 4th one in the back covering the remaining 3. There is no hatchery here, as the Marines and the Marauders are looking for better map control by denying movement speed bonus. Alright, there are a lot of creep tumors. This will take a little while to clean up, but Bratok is in prime position as he is up on bases and now setting up a 5th base with a planetary fortress, which should be very difficult to take down. Zerglings are upgraded 2-2. How much damage can they really do, as the Zerglings now look to run in here? Are they going to get in a surround and on any of those units? Looks like they will be able to finish off some of the Marines. The Zerglings going after some SCVs, and there was a huge hit, as we now see more Marines and Marauders come in to clear up the top left. Alright, Ultralist now joining on the fight. 150 versus 200. Bratok perhaps in a very good situation here, but Ultralists are now joining in. Is it going to be enough? Ultralists going after the siege tanks. Ultralists with so much armor and just giving so many hugs to those poor Marines and Marauders. Marines and Marauders, will they be able to get away? Trying to stutter step away. And wow, LZ looking very strong, now only down by about 35 supply. Can the infested Terran infestors perhaps get a fungal growth, Yelf? Yes, that is a critical fungal growth, as another fungal growth could be happening here. Chain fungal growth causing problems. All of these medevacs are very, very expensive units, and he cannot afford to lose them all. There's another fungal growth there, and wow, so many medevacs lost for Bratok. Bratok now once again being forced to retrain more medevacs. Fortunately for him, LZ has not yet transitioned into Broodlords. You really place a lot of pressure down on Terran when you force them to choose between training medevacs and training Vikings. Right now, Bratok doesn't need Vikings in his arsenal, so that is going to help him out. But the Ultralists with 2-4 upgrades, soon to be 2-5 upgrades, that means a base armor of 6. Marines will only be doing 3 damage per shot against a 500 hit point Ultralist. Alright, supply depots on the front door here. It looks as though Bratok is once again on the move. LZ now only about 26 supply behind. And let's take a look at the income. More in the bank for Bratok, as it looks as though, yes, Marines are trying to make their way in again. Marines are fully upgraded at 3-3. Zerglings and Ultralists will be upgraded momentarily. And now we see siege tanks on the move once more. Thors are in position. And we are establishing up a new base on the top left. Meanwhile, another base in the center. In comes the engagement. Zerglings going to be able to finish off some of those siege tanks before they get off enough attacks at all. So 2 siege tanks go down pretty needlessly. In addition, a couple Marauders and Marines getting fungal growth together. We could see another fungal growth. Yes, there's some more fungal growth, but the Infestors are now getting traded in a very, very sad situation, but perfect flank as Bratok walked straight into the trap here, and the Ultralists gonna chomp through this. LZ now only about 8 supply behind. There are a couple of Vikings here, not much of anything else as the Medivacs now on the move. Ultralists just wandering around, and what will be happening? Will the Ultralists be able to take down these Marauders and perhaps butt up against this Planetary Fortress? Planetary Fortress already going to get taken down here. SCVs taking a bit of damage as well, as it is going to get sliced and diced. Infestors, it could get off a fungal growth. There you go, and a base does get taken down. Meanwhile, Marines and Marauders force a cancellation on the top left. Ultralists still going after SCVs and Marines here. Beautifully done. And LZ now decides to back away. LZ was behind moments ago, but he is trading very, very efficiently. Let's take a look at the total losses. LZ now only 100 resources lost more than his opponent Bratok, as there's now about a 13 supply discrepancy. Bratok quickly replace this command center with another. One of the benefits of being able to lift off your buildings is you can have an entire cache full of command centers ready to go just in case one of yours is destroyed. Marines, Marauders, regrouping, all of these barracks acting a little bit as a wall to protect from Ultralists. Infestors now on the move as well, and this is a good number of Infestors. 8 Infestors, most likely with 8 or probably 8 to 12 fungal growths between them. And if they're able to shut down or get a good hit on Medivacs, Marines, or Marauders, that will make it very difficult for Bratok. So far, Bratok is sitting on a small amount of minerals, but he's sitting on a lot of gas, which really makes me wonder why he isn't trying to go for some Ravens. Ravens with that Seeker missile, very effective at taking down Infestors at the very least. And since they are flying units, it does force LZ to perhaps react accordingly once more. Zerglings now trying to make their way inside, unable to do so. Bratok with that supply wall shutting it down, but in comes the Ultralists now. Ultralists coming in, and are those SCVs going to perhaps get taken down? Oh, Banelings are all right there. That could be a very, very bad attack or bad trap there, but no, there is going to be a scanner sweep as the Marines are now walking straight up a fungal growth as there's so many Infestors. The Infestors now perhaps going to get off another fungal growth there as the Ultralists coming back in from the far side. And so far, these Infestors are doing a great exchange here as infested Terrans are now coming out. And a beautiful, beautiful round of fungal growths again. LZ is behind, though, as Bratok is now sitting at 197. And Bratok looks to take the lead here and is going to finish off all of these units. LZ now down to 102. Bratok sitting at 200 over 200. And with double the supply, Bratok, with a brilliant exchange there, now has the lead. Vikings are on the move. Ultralists still dancing around. Marauders and Marines now making their way over. What is going to be happening here as the siege tanks are rolling on forward? I don't believe Bratok can get stopped here. There's Infestors and some Ultralists. That is it. Level 3 weapons upgrade on those siege tanks, meaning that those Ultralists will get taken down pretty quickly, as well as the Vikings are now going after Overlords. Zerglings trying to catch some units in transit. No, not even bothering to take down the siege tanks. And I believe that is going to be it. LZ losing way too much, very needlessly, not dealing any damage whatsoever, as the Marauders and the Marines are just staying together and picking and choosing their target. Marines now finishing this off over here. Bratok sitting at 200 over 200. Let's take a look at the bases. Bases are pretty much mined out in multiple locations. Vikings, this base has been mined out as well, as we see now the attack coming in on the top left. Down goes the hatchery. There are still a couple of drones here. That walk of shame walking back, and LZ says GG as Bratok even ups the series at 1 game apiece. And I have to apologize if I can't find game 3, but so I can't say stay tuned for game 3. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 2 here on Daybreak.